Welcome back to the Humble Market Timer YouTube channel. Once again, if you enjoy the content, please like, comment, and subscribe. Today's video is on Fannie Mae. It's now November, and things have been pretty quiet on the front as far as taking Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac public. What now? Before I go any further, here's my disclaimer. Once again, these are my sole ideas, not investment advice. Now, I've done a couple of videos on Fannie Mae and talking about the idea of President Trump wanting to take Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac public. Back in August, he sent out this social media post on his Truth Social, and basically he pinpointed that he wanted to take those two entities public, and he wanted to do so by November 2025, and he wanted to rename the new publicly traded entity as MAGA. Again, kind of looking at the chart, things have been pretty quiet. When we initially had that initial post, we were around this area. It was in mid to early August. Price was about $8 a share. And just based on that news, the price pretty much doubled. It went to just under $16 a share. Now, Fannie Mae has been one of the hottest stocks in 2025. It started the year in the $2, $2.50 range, and it has gone as high as just under $16. So it has made a massive move in 2025. And the question is, could we actually see more upside even though it made such a big move already? So as you could expect, there should have been a lot of euphoria because there's always been a lot of value in Fannie and Freddie Mac, but it just was never it just never materialized in the stock price while it kind of floundered on the over-the-counter exchange. But just kind of looking at the chart, you can see that it had up until this point, it has traded very, very textbook. You've had pops and consolidations, pops and then consolidations, and then we just had another pop, and we have pulled back from that recent top from that post from Trump. Now, as I said, things have been pretty quiet. On October 20th, U.S. Director of Federal Housing posted that he still thought that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac going public could happen as early as the end of 2025. So he's still kind of pointing towards that November, December timeframe. But again, until you hear more and more rumblings about it, you're not going to get the buy-in from the public to keep moving the stock higher. Also want to consider the fact, Trump has got a lot of things on his plate right now. He's trying to get these tariff deals done, trying to handle the situation with China. We have a government shutdown. Even though Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are not run by the government per se, they are overseen by the government. So you're going to be hard pressed to get any major moves in the company as far as taking the company public when you're in the midst of a government shutdown. So it's becoming less and less likely, even though we are in early November, things could happen possibly late November, but it's becoming less and less likely that this month will be the time frame in which we will find out if we can get that move to the public markets on the traditional U.S. stock exchanges and off the OTC exchange. But if you notice, and I talked about the chart and how uniform and how textbook is traded, we've always, like I said, had a pop, and then it consolidated, and we've always popped out of that consolidation, and we've always had a dip to retest the upper range of the consolidation point. Again, consolidated here, broke out, dipped back to the upper region of the previous consolidation point, and then we had a bounce. Went back to that previous consolidation point, had a bounce. Traded within this parallel, broke out, consolidated just above it, went higher on the news that Trump posted. And what have we done? We've slowly faded down. And what do? We dipped right back to the upper portion of the previous consolidated parallel. So we had a bounce off that area, went back to the top. What did we just have on Friday? We had a dip right back to the top region of the previous consolidating parallel. So the question is, and typically we've had multiple tests of that previous upper portion parallel, the previous move, and we've now had 2 tests of this previous parallel. So the idea is, did we potentially find a bottom on Friday when we dipped to about the 930s, right here at the top portion of the previous parallel? So you need to be on the lookout to see if that area holds and we get a bounce off that area. Also, I want you to look at a couple other things. I talk a lot about symmetry on my channel. As you can see, we've had this move, and look at the symmetry. Look at how similar the move going up has been on the move going down. Notice that? Now, what's interesting is sometimes the move completely goes back to the start of the previous move. So we potentially, if we don't hear any news about FNMA or Fannie or Freddie Mac going public, and things don't work out in the time frame that Trump had initially wanted, you will see further deterioration in the price action and further push down by traders to push the price action down, particularly since FNMA has already made such a massive run. So you could potentially go back down here where you round trip the previous move from the post that Trump made back in August. Very, very possible. Let me delete those 2 things. So be on the lookout for that symmetry. Also, I want to let you look at one more thing. Let's look at the weekly chart for FNMA. And what I want you to look at and pay close attention to is the RSI. If you notice, I drew a parallel on the RSI. A lot of people don't realize this, but a lot of times the parallel on the RSI is more predictive of tops and bottoms and price action than the actual price action itself. And if you notice, when we had a peak at the top part of the parallel of the price action of the RSI, that also meant the top or a peak in the price action. The bottom of the parallel in the RSI represented the bottom of the price action. And notice how it has held form all the way up until now. And on Friday, we hit the bottom of the parallel once again, which could potentially mean that is the bottom of the dip in FNMA. So this could be a critical point. If we bounce off this area, you can see a nice move higher. But if we break this area, you're going to see a much bigger pullback in the price action of FNMA. Now, where could that price action be if we do get this? If this is not the bottom and we no longer have this trend where we bottom at the upper band of the previous consolidation point. If you notice, there is a ton of price action in this price range right in here. So this is about that 750 price range. Notice how we hit that area here, 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 here. There is acted as support and resistance a ton of times in 2025. And if we do get a drop back, and this is not the lower portion of this recent pullback in Fannie Mae, you could expect the price to fall back to that 750-ish price action where there is tons of support. You almost certainly will get a bounce in that area if we do fall to that level. That would be an area where I would definitely be a buyer if we did have a drop. But if things hold form to how they have been in the past two moves that we've had in the price jumps in FNMA, be on the lookout to see if that area that we bottomed at on Friday, if that area holds. If not, be on the lookout for that 750, and that would be where I'd load up. Hope you like the video. If you like the content, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.